Hi class, here is your first video of the semester. We're looking at basic features on a weather map, and we're going to take a look first at low pressure systems. And so if we look at this from a top view, so this would be like if you are looking at a weather map, two-dimensional, you're looking down at it, what you would see is a big red L on a weather map, indicating that this is where our center of low pressure is. The circulation around a low pressure is going to be counterclockwise and inward. So the wind is flowing similar to this. And so let's just write down that the horizontal wind motion is counterclockwise, so please, I apologize for my abbreviations, CCW, counterclockwise and inward. And so what this does is this creates a convergence of wind. Okay, so convergence is going to be a word that we use throughout the semester. Convergence of air in the center of low pressure. And so this is, low pressures act kind of like a bathtub drain, or they're kind of like the drain of the atmosphere. When you pull the plug in a bathtub, all the water converges in towards the drain. And that's kind of what air does with low pressure. But instead of, in the bathtub, the water meets at the drain and drains down, here, when air converges in the center of low pressure, it has nowhere to go but up. And so the vertical wind motion, and this is kind of the real importance of low pressures. So vertical wind motion is going to be upward. So the circulation around a low pressure is counterclockwise, inward, and upward. Okay, and the importance of this is that this is going to carry water vapor up into the atmosphere. So WV is water vapor into the atmosphere. And water vapor is concentrated near the Earth's surface, which makes sense because water vapor is evaporated water. And where do we find most of the liquid water? We find it at the surface. And so water vapor is concentrated near the surface, and we've got to get that water vapor up into the atmosphere if we're going to form clouds and precipitation. So one way in which we form clouds and precipitation is through the convergence of air in the center of low pressure. Air flowing counterclockwise inward towards the center of low pressure, meets in the center of low pressure. It has to rise, and when it rises, it carries water vapor into the atmosphere. And so oftentimes, almost always with low pressures, these low pressures are going to create cloud cover. Create clouds and potentially precipitation. If there's enough water vapor to work with, you'll get precipitation with this. So low pressures then, the result of these low pressures is that they are going to create what we normally refer to as adverse weather conditions. So low pressures are typically a location of adverse or technical term, icky, weather conditions. All right. So another view that I'll give you of this, of low pressures, is a profile view. So if we have here, I'm going to abbreviate, and you'll get used to this through the semester. SFC is my abbreviation for the surface. And so here we're going to look at this as a profile view. So instead of the top-down view, if you were able to look out on the horizon, look across the horizon here at the surface, and if you were able to see a big red L representing low pressure at the surface, first, I think I'd want to party with you because it sounds like you've got some good stuff. But if you were able to see a big letter L representing a low pressure, what you would be viewing then is air flowing in towards this low pressure, and it would be rising. Okay, and remember that rising air is critical because it's carrying water vapor up into the atmosphere, and so typically this is where you're going to find the clouds. And we'll just draw this here. All right, and so water vapor carrying clouds up into the atmosphere, or carrying water vapor up into the atmosphere, forming clouds. If there's enough water vapor to work with, you'll get precipitation with this. So again, typically low pressures are areas where you find cloud cover and oftentimes precipitation. The next thing we'll talk about is high pressures. That's the next one. That's coming up next.